Hey there, I'm Kris McDonald with T3 Tech Partners, and we're talking here about shifting left, reaching operational maturity using AI. So, the concept of left revolves around allocating all the tasks and day to day responsibilities to the lowest cost, highest availability tier in your company. And you can do this through standards, you can do it through process, and you can even use technology like what we're going to talk about today to reach that goal. We can use AI as essentially a tier zero. AI is now your tier zero, the lowest cost, highest availability employee in your entire company. It's cheap, it's available, it's obedient for the most part. The cons are that it often behaves like a maliciously compliant and incompetent employee unless you have the right guidelines and communicate with it in the way that it's expecting. In order to communicate well with AI, you have to have a great prompt. And there's a lot of things that go into composing a great prompt, and they vary based on use case. So, for example, you wouldn't necessarily use tone when it comes to creating a PowerShell script. It doesn't matter if you're funny or casual when it comes to PowerShell, right? But in the same way, you wouldn't necessarily talk about who the audience was when you're creating your PowerShell either. These kinds of things go hand in hand. Let's talk about one of the first things that most of us MSPs are going to use AI for. It's going to be code generation, especially PowerShell with Copilot, right? You see all of those different pieces of a great prompt are composed together here. What is the task? What is the scripter function doing? What language do you want to write in? Where and when will the code be used? So a little bit of context behind the scenes. Where is it, is it going to be triggered by a webhook, et cetera? Input and output. You got to tell it what you're going to put into the code and what you expect to get out of the code. And that's, what is it? CSV file? Is it going to be text files? What are you getting in and out? Some guardrails, some guidelines, security, performance, but even constraints like if it turns out that this value is null, stop processing kind of thing. You do need to be very specific. And this comes, I don't know if you've ever seen the how to make a peanut butter and jelly videos where you have to be very exact and the people performing the action are going to do exactly what you say. AI is very much like that. So if you really specifically need your code to do a specific thing within the context, so if this field is null, then do this. You have to get to that level of explicitity. Then comes the style and format. Do you want comments? Do you not want comments? I found that Copilot is really good at giving you comments and at least separating out PowerShell into sections. If you don't want that, or if you want some even more lengthy style and format, you're going to give it that information. The last thing I always do is give either the PowerShell module documentation or the API documentation. And the reason I do that is because that will be the first thing it pulls from for information rather than some sort of Reddit rabbit hole. And most of the time when I find that the code isn't working as expected, it comes from the fact that it was pulling some information that was human generated off of a Reddit thread. So you can even say in your guide rails, only use what you find in the API or PowerShell module documentation, and your code will get better. Okay, so if you want to see more examples of great prompts and learn how to build them yourself, you can continue this through our lengthened version of this video to learn all about marketing copy, data formatting, etc. And you can click here to find them. But with that information, now you can shift left and bring the tasks that were formerly on your more expensive tiers down to your less expensive tiers and get more done.